Hello, hello! Welcome to GM Tips. I'm your host, Satine Phoenix, co-creator of Maze Arcana and a dungeon master on Fury's Reach. Today's theme is new players. With the different games available nowadays with different styles and rules and character sheets, playing any RPG can seem daunting. It's our duty, dear game masters, to provide a safe environment for these new players. Some will have been video gamers with an idea of RPGs, and some might have no experience at all. That shouldn't stop any of them from learning. My friend Christine Wu asked me about D&D, and I ran her through a quick game with no character sheets or planning and only one die to roll. I could have scheduled a game with her and walked her through the player's handbook, but that's not the essence of RPGs, in my opinion. She had so much fun in that moment that she ended up getting the books and reading up on the game on her own because she connected with the heart of the game. You know, it isn't easy for a lot of people to come out of their shell and perform in front of others, but there seems to be a resurgence of people playing now. I've seen a lot of new players stop playing after only 1 or 2 sessions because of how overwhelming it can get or how they feel they're too far behind to catch up. That's absolutely not the case. Let's take a look at different ways to ease new players into our favorite hobby. Before the game, talk to them and find out what kind of character they are interested in playing. Do explain to them the benefits of this kind of race-class combination. Don't overwhelm them by suggesting all the things you think are badass. They're there to play the characters from their fantasies. Once they get the hang of it, introduce them to other combinations. Give them the basic information and abilities. Once they seem to understand the order of actions and get the hang of the way you and your friends roleplay, then give them more abilities before the next session. Don't overwhelm them by asking them to calculate tons of numbers. Help them by pre-calculating their modifiers so they can experience the play and roleplay rather than spending gobs of time with their heads in the character sheet. Hand them the exact dice they'll need for rolling, attack dice, damage dice, etc., so they don't get confused trying to find the right die. I say this over and over, and I'm gonna keep saying it until it seeps in. Tell the players your house rules so they know how to play with you. Let them know to trust you with environment, NPCs, and situations. In the end, all they really need to do is tell you what they want to do. The Game Master guides them to what they should roll to make the intention happen. During the game, you and the other players are their guide. The new player will learn from watching what other players do. Show them the possibilities by role-playing with the other characters and allowing them to see the players play. Then, give them specific moments to try their hand at role-playing. Decide how much influence you want the other players to have in teaching the new player during the game. This is considered metagaming. Draw a line so the players don't take advantage of being able to metagame outside of this specific case in your game. It can quickly get out of hand. I've seen it. On this note, be careful how you reprimand other players. Rules are set for ease of play, but aggressive reprimanding can also deter a new player from the game. Role-playing games are fun. Don't lose track of that. There are a lot of rules and boundaries to navigate, and with lots of practice, you'll get better at it. Rules. How much is too much? Rules heavy or rules light, they still need to be communicated. I find that giving them a basic rule rundown of things they can do before the game starts, and then gradually teaching them as they go is optimal. A lot of people learn by being put in situations rather than having to memorize, so be patient with them. I could roll on, but instead, let's discuss this with writer, master of the gauntlet, and musical improviser with robot teammate, Chris Bramante.
Hello.
Hi, thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me, Satine.
You're a fantastic game master.
Thank you.
I saw it with mine eyes.
Oh, you were a fantastic player.
You are the man in charge of the gauntlet.
Yes. Yes.
I was very impressed. It's very fun and lively and easy to play.
Well, I'm glad that it was. Yeah, Gauntlet is designed in order to let new players come in that day. You can create your character, but you don't create a character sheet. We have a character sheet already built for you, and you just use your weapons and your will and your fortitude, but beyond that, stats aren't that important to the show.
It was really cool because you asked me, what do you want to play? What kind of character do you want to play? And that was as simple as your character sheet seemed to be. It's like, oh, I want to play a wizard, or oh, I want to play a paladin of some sort. And you're like, okay, well that idea fits into this character sheet. And you had us make backstories and stuff, but it was actually very simple. So how did you come up with that easy character sheet?
So you have all the different classes. Each of them have kind of the best weapon that matches that class. Best is obviously subjective, but what we did was we took 3 different kinds of weapons. Each person gets just to come in, fill out your name. As long as you know who you are, everything's there for you. And just, it's a hack and slash, I think is the term.
Yeah, like a
You're just
dungeon
going-
crawl.
A dungeon crawl.
Yeah.
You're going from room to room, you're escaping, you're killing these creatures, you're collecting skulls, which is why I'm the skull giver, Amontillak the skull giver. And so I didn't even do that because I'm pretty new to GMing myself. The first time I ever GM'd was live on Twitch.
That's cool.
It was pretty nerve-wracking until it started happening, until I sort of rolled back into my head. You know, eyes disappeared, came back as a Amontillak, and then I felt comfortable. But before that, it all seemed kind of overwhelming. But then it just gets natural as it goes on, just like I suppose life is. And so I want people who have never played to be able to just come and have fun and fantasize and improvise and do their thing.
And one of the ways you do that seems to be with having a light-hearted game.
Yeah.
So you mentioned something before about your view on comedy and your view on being playful with players. Can you talk about that?
One thing that I always think about comedy, but also taking something seriously, is I don't want too much like meta fourth wall breaking, because I am a Lord of the Rings fantasy head. I love that stuff. But I also don't want things to be the same. So what I try to bring to the Gauntlet is this ridiculous, almost Mel Brooksian silliness.
That's exactly it. It
That's
was
what I
full
tried.
on Mel Brooks. So thank you.
Like Bemis the No-Clops is one of the characters I like to play. He was a Cyclops, and then he was blinded by Narandine the Night Boy, so now he's the No-Clops. Just like dumb stuff that makes me laugh, but I try to treat it as if it's super serious. And some of the times where I struggle in the show is if a performer doesn't act like their life is in danger. Because what I always feel about, if you're going to make believe, you must believe. And one of the most freeing concepts for me as an improviser was when a teacher told me, don't try to be funny. Don't think that you're funny. Don't be thinking in that way. Choose a character, be that character, and then just believe that you are, and then see what happens. So for me, that's how I want to perform in a show. So when we're doing a live Twitch stream, it's different because it's a show. It's not just, it's not a long form campaign. You don't have the time to really think it through in the way that you would when you're getting together with a group without people expecting you to keep their attention. So what I want to do is create a situation in which you can just tap in, believe who you are, know what your weapons are and how to use them, and then just keep moving and keep going.
So the rules for the game, Pathfinder, Dungeons and Dragons, or whatever, they're pretty intense.
Yes.
How did you simplify it to communicate to the new players that come into your game so that they would understand it easier?
What I do is, if someone's never played at all, the way I describe it to them is, think of this as verbal storytelling, in which the dice is a conduit to chance. That's all it is. We're going to talk about what's happening. I believe it's second, as a GM, you're speaking in second person, which is you this, you that. And usually once they understand that, and then the basic concept of can I hit and what does it do? And then describe what you're doing, walk us through it. Once they get that, and we do a couple practice rolls, like I have it in columns. It's like, you're always going to strike. Then you roll. I explain to them all their dice. And at first you can kind of see like this, like, with the math and the...
I like the way that you've simplified it, not just for the players, but for you, so that you get the players through the dungeon. Because one of the things I noticed that when we were playing your game is I didn't even think about the rules. The way you showed it to us. It was, what are you doing? And we were just kind of moving, and it was second nature. But that's playing, and that's what role-playing games are, is I'm doing this, what are you doing? This is what the other guy's doing, and it's just that really fluid movement through the adventure.
Yeah, and your group was so fluid because you have a relationship together already. You came in there and it was, I could even sense it was such a pared down version for you, like Kyle and Rudy and
Mylin.
and Mylin, Magicara. What a character. It was just instantly you guys were just flowing through it. And I try to bring in groups that at least have one person that they know, because an established rapport takes it to the next level. The times where I've brought in individuals that don't know each other, it's definitely a roll of the dice in terms of will they connect or will they freeze up? Will they not engage? And then even though they write out these bios of character explorations based off of questions I've asked them, they don't necessarily use the information because sometimes it feels like it's probably just the brain is processing, like, am I doing this right?
Yeah. Do you have anything else you want to say about that?
Yeah, people, I always want to make sure that just the realm is kept within. Like, if you want to do meta Earth jokes, you can do them, but do them in this world. Like, we had someone who initially wrote a sheet and they wanted to be a surfer in Santa Monica. And the way I phrased it to them is, even though Amontillak, who is over 1,000 years old, has died many times and has gone to all different sorts of dimension, he knows what Santa Monica is, but you guys don't. So he did a quick edit of it, and then he was a turtle rider from Montesanica.
Oh, gosh.
And so he can still do his comedic performance in that way, but with making it true to this world, which is a realm I call Deiros. Although now we're in the alternate dimension of Heiros. And then some people get sucked into the all-horse version of that dimension, which is Heiros.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Fun. Funny, fun, fun.
It all kind of just comes up as it's happening.
Yeah, that's
like
gaming.
Improv.
Yes.
Yeah, it's gaming and that's improv.
So I'm going to ask you 3 questions.
3 questions.
The same questions I ask every guest.
Questions 3. Answer ye these questions 3. I shall. Let's see if I can do it.
Okay. What is your pre-game house rule?
Pre-game house rule is to like each other, to the players. Like each other. You are all together. You're on the same team. You're not attacking each other. You will never, at any point in the rules of this game, draw a sword against another player. So why have a sword of words? These are your friends. We try to do a few improv warm-ups beforehand, make eye contact, and then, of course, like I was saying, believe. Believe that you are who you are. The stakes are high. You are not in Earth right now. You are in Deiros. That's the rule. Let's play.
Awesome. What is your favorite GM moment?
My favorite GM moment was when the chat created an emote of my head. And what that did to me was, sometimes I feel like things make sense when you see that it makes sense to someone else. So I grew up as a punk rock kid. I used to sing in a punk band called the Mosh Potatoes. I was never quite a metal or goth person, but I always hung in those realms. But big fan of the Misfits growing up. And so when I play in fantasy realms, even though I am a pacifist and a very peaceful person, who I don't play violent video games. The only time that any sort of violent urge just kind of naturally pours out is in fantasy roleplay games, where it's like, oh, I just described a gross flaying of an orc. I guess that's in there somewhere. But when they created the emote, as I am Amontillak the Skull Giver, I was looking at the chat, I always begin it with my little intro, scream that you've entered the gauntlet, and I looked at chat, and all of a sudden, there is me with the robe and my hair sticking out, and then a skull for my face. And I was like, okay, they understand what I'm trying to do, and now I understand what I was even doing. So it was a conversation, and that the chat kind of helped me become what I wanted to become in their creating of that emote.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
A quick tip to the audience doesn't have to have anything to do with what we talked about today.
Great. Do I look to you or do I look to them?
You can look to whoever you want.
Okay. Hi. So I'll just look to you. A quick tip would be something that Robot Teammates improv coach taught to us, which is to dig your heels. Sometimes when we're creating an improvised story live in front of a crowd, things go off the rails. The story we were intending to tell is not being told. Sometimes the instinct is discomfort and nervousness and looking to each other, and you can sense this kind of like, uh-oh, I wish I wasn't here. Mm-hmm. Why are we doing this? People are looking at us, expecting to be entertained, to be satisfied. So what our coach taught us was, especially when that happens, double down even further. Even if it has gone fully crazy and angels are coming out of your ears and babies are singing in Latin, dig your heels into the dirt as if it was exactly your plan. And so that is something that I try to do in life and definitely do in GMing. Yeah.
That's an excellent GM tip.
Thank you.
That is the end of our show for today. Thank you for watching GM Tips on Geek and Sundry, and thank you, Chris, for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Where can we find you on the internet?
Oh, places. I'm Chris Bramante. You can find me as a Montiac on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, as well as every Thursday on The Gauntlet on twitch.tv/hyperrpg. You can find me on Fridays at 9:30 on Geek and Sundry Twitch, where we do Gather Your Party with Robot Teammate. And those are the places to find me.
It's true. I've seen him on those places. As always, I'm Satine Phoenix. You can find me at Satine Phoenix, and you can catch me every Sunday on twitch.tv/Maze and Orphan Echo, and Tuesdays Dungeon Mastering Fury's Reach on twitch.tv/DND, and on Sagas of Sundry Dread on projectalpha.com. Chris, are you ready to GM us out of here?
Oh, I hope so. To all ye creatures seeking quest, your whims and wits now face a test. The story needs you. Take the helm. Guide us through your mythic realm. Trust your dice. Expect surprise. Conceive, believe, and improvise. Construct a world consumed in conflict, a forgotten forest, dank and haunted. Imagination, use it, want it. Confront the fire, face the gauntlet. Find the adventure hiding within. The time is now, so just begin.